all of them in different directions, and de facto they covered the whole territory of Ukraine. We know about explosions in Dnipro city, we know about Zaporizhia, we know about Kryvyi Rih, we know about Odessa, we know about Volyn, where they targeted the energy infrastructure as well, and that is western border of Ukraine. And we know definitely about Kiev and Chernihiv regions. So if you look to the map, you would understand, and then Zhytomyr plus several airfields. It's difficult to find any place around Ukraine where the missiles were not targeting. And one of the missiles even crossed the Moldova border this night.
So an extensive attack across the whole of Ukraine, focusing in on Odessa. I know that your home has been targeted. You've shared some images with us. Just talk us through. I know it's difficult to describe what is happening to your own home, but just talk us through what happened to it.
Yeah, the previous very big attack against Odessa happened on the night of Thursday with the Shaheds coming just to the downtown. You need to understand that Odessa downtown is the UNESCO protected cultural heritage, so it should be in no way targeted according to the all international law and conventions that Russia signed. Nevertheless, we had a huge attack against the city with a lot of explosions in the port, in the historic downtown, with several buildings on fire. My flat being completely destroyed as well, luckily not under the fire as the next flat in our building, where people lost completely everything. We still don't know if the house would be reconstructed after this. The whole street being without windows, floors destroyed, the ceiling just fall to the people, plenty of with the minor injuries. Luckily only one person died at that night. One of the reasons that people became much more careful with any type of the air raids, trying not to be near the windows or getting somewhere. But you need to understand that in such old cities, downtowns, usually you don't have sufficient amount of the shelters. It's just technically very difficult to do. So when something is happening in the middle of the night, people don't have so many opportunities just to run away. I've been sitting just after the interview with your colleagues at France 24, just sat to the sofa to see some episodes at my iPad, and the ceiling fall at my knees and just at the sofa where I've been sitting. And our doors were cracked by the police because we couldn't even get out from our flat due to the ceiling and the roof, because we're the last floor, the roof just fall and we could see the sky and the fire coming nearby. So only in the morning we were allowed to come and to see at least some of the consequences of what happened.
One of the many areas across the country that was targeted by those 120 Russian missiles was Dnipro. We can cross over there and speak to Paul Adams, who joins us. And Paul, just bring us up to date the situation across Ukraine.
Yeah, just to clarify, I'm a little bit west of Dnipro, but we started off the day, east of Dnipro. We started off the day in the city. We had sirens in the early hours, and the latest information from the city was that 2 railway workers were killed, among 5 people killed across the country overnight, in what seems to have been the largest concerted Russian drone and missile attack, certainly since early September. And it does seem as though the principal targets were, once again, Ukraine's energy infrastructure. I was speaking to someone from one of the largest energy companies just a short time ago who said it looks like they're starting again. In other words, as winter arrives, and we have had the first snow here in the last few days, once again, Russia turns its attention to Ukraine's energy infrastructure in an attempt to plunge this country into darkness during the most difficult months. So whether that is the beginning of such a campaign, we don't know, but it certainly looks that way. And from one end of the country to the other, we have had interruptions to power and a number of significant energy infrastructure targets hit, although we're not being told which ones.
And Paul, just to bring you up to date, the Russian Defense Ministry is saying, and this is coming to us via the Reuters news agency, that these energy infrastructure facilities, they're accusing them of supporting defense industry and military enterprises, which is why arguably they're saying that's why they targeted them. But arguably we're also hearing from Russia's foreign minister saying that civilians were targeted, that people were sleeping in their beds, they were targeted. So an ongoing escalation of what is a conflict already a crisis point.
Yes, I mean, what keeps a country going? It's the energy generating facilities, and that keeps people warm. And it also, of course, enables the country's industries, including their military industries, to keep functioning. So you attack the power infrastructure, you affect the entire country. And it is inevitable when these attacks are launched that civilians do end up being caught in it, either by direct strikes from missiles and drones, or by fragments of both missiles and drones being intercepted overhead. None of this would be happening if Russian attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure were not happening. It is part of what one senses is an effort by both sides to try and maximize their positions ahead of what is widely anticipated to be some change in US policy once Donald Trump takes office early next year. We're seeing the Russians gradually edging forward along the eastern front, and we're seeing the Ukrainians clinging on to that tiny fragment of Russian territory in the Kursk region. Everyone knows that the policy that the Biden administration has pursued over the past few years could be about to change, and change quite dramatically. President Zelensky himself said just the other night that the war could be over next year. There's a feeling that things are going to change. No one quite knows how.